The single pot still really impressed me. The single grain, not quite as much. Let's see whether it's third time's a charm with this single malt from the Busker. My name's Lewis, welcome to the Neckpour. This is the whiskey review channel where I give you my honest opinions from the Neckpour all the way down to the Dregs. And you join me today to open another bottle and offer you the Neckpour. This is the single malt from the Busker Irish Whisky. If you didn't know what I was talking about at the start, click up there and you'll see my review of the single pot still, the first bottle that I tried from the Busker, and then up there for the single grain, the second. I picked these three bottles up, all for £15 each, when they're on a ludicrously good sale. I think it's because they're going in a different direction with their branding, so they're looking to sell off all their old stocks, but not entirely certain on that. But anyway, the single pot still was certainly a budget sipper, that's for sure. At £15, couldn't go wrong. The single grain for me was a little bit bland, but wasn't too bad. Again, at £15, you can't think too much. And lastly, this is the single malt. So let's see what this is all about. And before I waffle on any further, let's get this poured and see what we think. Let's have a little listen to the cork. Plastic cork, as with a couple of these so far, and let's get a little bit of this into the glass. Before I go any further, I would just like to say, if you're enjoying the video, please do hit that like button. If you've got any thoughts and opinions on this particular bottle of whiskey, or there's anything you'd like to see me review, leave it in the comments below. I'll be sure to get back to you. And if you're really enjoying and want to see some more, please hit that subscription and the notification bell. It really does mean a lot to me. So this, 44.3%, so a pretty healthy ABV for something in that price point. No mention of non-chill filtered, no mention of natural colour, so I think it's fairly safe to assume it's had both of those done to it. Although the colour is still pretty light. It's not super dark, and there is variation between the three different expressions. So it might not be too badly coloured. All triple distilled, as with a lot of Irish whiskey. And this one's finished in bourbon and sherry. But yeah, let's have a little nose and see what we think. It's very light on the nose, very approachable. There's a little bit of nuts, a little bit of vanilla, and heaps of, I'd say actually icing sugar on this. It's an almost artificial sweetness. Yeah, icing sugar for sure. It's not anything else. Along with nuts, so almost like a candied kind of nut. And there's something fruity, but I'm not quite sure what it is. But no, it's pretty approachable on the nose, that's for sure. Let's give it a little taste. Surprisingly quite heavily sherried on the palate. I'm getting lots of dried fig. I'm getting dates. And I'm getting dehydrated apple slices, like you get in like granolas and cereals. Yeah, it's a really quite a pleasant palate actually. That's pretty nice for, again, for 15 quid. You can't complain. And on the finish, again, there's a little tiny hint of that kind of sherry spice. There's a little bit of woodiness. There's a little bit of tannins there, a little bit of astringency. And then there's a real kind of sweet dried fruit that it kind of finishes with. It's not super long, but again, it's not 46%, and it is probably chill filtered. So you've lost a lot of that oiliness, that mouth coatingness, but it's still reasonably kind of satisfying, that's for sure. I'm just going to add a little splash of water to this, but only a couple of drops, just to see if we can get anything else out of it, liven it up at all. Give that a bit of a mix. I wouldn't say there's anything different there on the nose particularly. Just might be a little bit more punchy with that water added. A lot more woody spice on the palate with that bit of water added. It's that real kind of bourbon or virgin oak wood spice. And then the finish just gets a little hint of black pepper mixed in there as well. But no, overall, for 15 quid, that's not something you can be mad about. Let's be honest. It comfortably beats the single grain. I'll say that for absolute certain. The single pot still, I'm not so sure. I think they'd be fairly close in my mind. But no, do stay tuned. I'll certainly do a 3-way bottle battle between the three of them and taste them head to head. See if in that environment there's anything that I've missed out on the first couple, or pick out now that I've tried this one, for example. Because, I mean, you can sort of, I think I can tell there's a kind of core DNA to these that's fairly kind of similar, particularly this one and the single pot still. The single grain is that bit more spicy but very young as a bit of an outlier. So yeah, no, definitely stay tuned. I'll do a 3-way taste off between the three of them and give my opinions. But no, for 15 quid as a light sipper, I can certainly say if you see it anything like that price, pick a bottle up. But 22, 25 quid or more, I'd say probably not. It's probably not quite worth that. You can probably pick up something better for certainly 27, 28, 29 quid. There's always something pretty good on offer around those prices. But no, I'm pretty happy that I've picked the three of these up. It's certainly not purchases I'm regretting, that's for sure. But yeah, before I waffle on too much further, I think we'll leave it there for today. I'd just like to say again, thank you so much for joining me here today. I really do appreciate it. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit like. If you've got any thoughts on this particular bottle, or there's anything you'd like to see me review, drop it in the comments below. I'll be sure to get back to you. Or if you've got any thoughts on this review. And if you've really enjoyed the content and want to see some more, please do hit subscribe and the notification bell down below. It really does mean a lot to me. But other than that, I'd like to say thank you again for joining me here today. Please do tune in again for another episode of the Neckpour, the Dregs, or just my thoughts and opinions on whiskey. But until then, I'd just like to say cheers, Sláinte, and I'll see you again.